multiplying, dividing, order of operations with integers. So we've already done adding and subtracting, so putting it all together basically. So remember, for multiplying integers, you want to multiply all the digits together, and then you want to look at how many negative numbers you are multiplying together. If there's an even number of them, then your answer will be positive. If there's an odd number of them, then your answer will be negative. So let's practice. So here we've got two numbers. 3 times 2 is 6. Positive times a negative. So you've got one negative, so the answer is negative. Again, try to do these without a calculator. B, 7 times 2 is 14, and two negatives multiplied together is a positive. 5 times 2 is 10, times 3 is 30. You've got two negatives, which is an even number of negatives, so answer is positive. Here, 2 times 3 is 6, times 2 is 12, times 4 is 48. You've got three negatives multiplied together. 3 is an odd number, so that means answer will be negative. You don't want to have to go through -2 times +3 is -6. -6 times -2 is +12. +12 times -4 is -48. It takes a little bit longer. A little bit easier just to do the digits and look at the number of negative signs. So 2 times 4 is 8, times 6 is 48, times 2 is 96, and there's 2 negatives, so the answer will be positive. 2 is an even number. 1 times 2 is 2, times 3 is 6, times 4 is 24, times 5 is 120. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives, so the answer is negative. Then remember what exponents means. It really means -5 times -5. So, because that's in brackets. So you have an even number of negatives, so the answer is positive. So this, if this is even, then the answer is positive. Okay. Here, notice the difference though. This is even, but there's no brackets. So this is the same as -4 times 4. Okay, or negative bracket 4 times bracket 4. In any case, there's just one negative, so it's -16. So there's a difference between this and this. If you can just look at it and see the difference. Okay, dividing. So you want to divide the digits. Simplify each numerator and denominator if needed. If they don't divide into it, then simplify the fraction as much as you can. Then you look at how many negative numbers are being divided. So if both numbers have the same sign, the answer will be positive. Both have the opposite signs, they'll be negative. If there's some multiplying within a numerator or denominator, then like G and H here, then really what you're doing is simplifying the numerator and then dividing, but you can use the same steps as with multiplying, counting up the number of negatives. In any case, the first ones are straightforward divisions. So 24 divided by 4 is 6. Negative divided by negative is a positive. There's two negatives there. Here, there's one of each, so it's going to be negative answer. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Here, a negative and a positive, so it's going to be a negative answer. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Here, a negative divided by positive, that's going to be a negative. There's one negative. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Here, positive divided by negative is negative. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Negative divided by negative is positive. 30 divided by 6 is 5. Then, as I said, you can do this in 2 steps. So the numerator would be 12 times 2 is 24, positive because there's 2 of them, over -8, and then divide that out. Or you can go do all the numbers. 3 times 4 is 12, times 2 is 24, divided by 8 is 3, and then there's count up. There's 1, 2, 3 negatives, which is an odd number of negatives, so negative answer. So that's what I'll do here. So 4 times 5 is 20, times 3 is 60, divided by 6 is 10, and then there's 1, 2, 3 negatives, so a negative answer. Okay. And then order of operations. So we've already reviewed order of operations. You can use this BEDMAS to help, but now we'll just have ones that have more integers in them. So brackets first, so I copy everything out, and then 4 minus 9 is negative 5. So this, do not show me this as negative 3 times negative 5, right? You cannot subtract that first. Then here 2. Now, when you've got negatives, I like to think about the number in front of the coefficient here, include it in my multiplication. So negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. That way you don't have a set of brackets, right? You don't have this would be subtracting a negative, which is adding. So sometimes it makes it a little bit easier. So that's 27. Here we've got 3 terms. So the first, negative 32 divided by 4 is negative 8. And then negative 3 squared is 9. So notice how there's exponents, which technically is done first, but this term is separate, right? This is a term, this is a term, this is a term. So I can do that at the same time. In the order of operations that we did yesterday, I showed you each step, and then I showed you an arrow that you could skip. So this is really the arrow version. And then adding a negative is really like subtracting. So I'm just going to show it like that, and then go from there. Negative 8 plus 9 is 1, minus 1 is 0. Okay, so now this is like having really big brackets around the whole thing. So we can't, even though you see a 3 there, do not divide it by negative 3, okay, because it doesn't necessarily go into this term here. So we want to keep this and follow our order of operations. So within there we have a multiplying, so that'll be 5 plus 4. Then again, finish the brackets, that'll be 9. And then that's going to be 3 plus 18 over negative 3. And again, add this first before dividing. You could divide both of them by negative 3, but sometimes students forget to do it to the 18. So it's best to add them together. That'll be 21 over negative 3, which is negative 7. Okay, bunch of brackets here. Again, this is not 7. Copy it out. Then within the big brackets, we have small brackets. That's going to be negative 2. Again, copy it out. And then here we have to do this multiplication. So positive 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So I'm going to show that as subtract 4. And then simplify that. That's negative 1. And then do that multiplying. So positive 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. So that's going to be subtract 5 with one operation show. Okay. And again, brackets around numerator, brackets around denominator. So within that, we have smaller brackets. Do those first. So 8 minus 12 is negative 4. Negative 1 plus 5 is positive 4. Now, in these big brackets, I have exponents. Negative 2 squared is 4 minus 2. So extend this out. Then still need to figure out the numerator. That's going to be negative 12 plus 16 over 2. Get rid of the brackets. That's going to be 4 over 2, which is 2. You have to remember the difference between having a negative inside the brackets and outside. So here the negative is not inside brackets, so the 2 only refers to the 5, which means that's negative 25. Here the 2 refers to the whole bracket, so that'll be positive 16. and that's just a positive. Okay, now this you might notice 16 plus 9, if you take the positives together, that's 25, minus 25 is 0. Or negative 25 plus 16 is negative 9, plus 9 is 0. And then a couple of applications. So an elevator is currently on the ground floor. The elevator descends at a rate of 2 meters per second. Show an expression that will calculate the height of the elevator 10 seconds ago. So if you think about the height being 0 when you're on ground floor, 10 seconds ago, so minus 10 times negative 2. Descends is like represented by a negative 2. So 0 plus 20 equals 20 meters above ground. Okay. Now, it's the reason why I showed it like that, because it says to show an expression. You may have just done it in your head and figured it out, but that would be the integer expression to show it. Next one, the opening price of a stock is 41 and the closing price is 37. Express the daily change in price as an integer. So really, when we do this, we really want to start with the closing price and subtract the opening price to get the change. So 37 minus 41 is negative 4. So the daily change in price is negative $4. They show it as a negative if you look this up on the internet or in the newspaper. A movie theater with 300 seats makes a profit of $6 for each seat that is occupied and loses $3 for each seat that is empty. Show an expression that will calculate the profit or loss when the number of occupied seats is 200. So 200 seats occupied, they each make a profit of 6. How many seats are unoccupied? So you want to go, so this is occupied. Oops, let's just do this. Okay, and then 100 would be unoccupied. So the total would be 300 seats, right? So that would be plus 100 times negative 3. Order of operations, you have to do your multiplying first. So 1200 minus 300 is 900. Okay, and that's money, so we'll put the dollar symbol in at the end. Then 80 is occupied. So plus what has to equal 300? So 300 minus 80 is 220 unoccupied. So we've got then 80 times $6 plus 220 times negative $3. So 480 minus 660. So they lose money on this. That's going to be, what's that? 160, 180. Okay, so negative means a loss. Okay, positive means a gain or profit. Okay, and that's it.